This is Radio Taiwan International. Welcome to the news on Radio Taiwan International. I'm Michelle Chang coming to you from Taipei, Taiwan. We begin with a look at today's top stories from Monday, July 14th. The high U.S. tariffs on Southeast Asia and Mexico may affect Taiwanese manufacturing. India offers support for the region via strengthened Andaman and Nicobar Islands, according to experts. And the Fisheries Agency responds to a CNN report on migrant fishermen abuse on Taiwanese boats. But first, today's top story. News of the United States' reciprocal tariffs was released last week, with rates as high as 32% for Indonesia, 30% for Mexico, and 20% for Vietnam. The announcements sent shockwaves through Taiwan, which has reinvested in all the above countries following the first wave of tariffs, leaving many unsure of future economic impacts. According to Economic Ministry statistics, more than 300 Taiwanese companies have investments in Mexico, focused mainly on electronics manufacturing services, machine and auto parts, and textiles. Taiwanese companies also have diverse investments in Vietnam and Indonesia, including textiles, metal products, food processing, fishing, and financial services, to just name a few. Senior Taiwan Institute of Economic Research analyst Chiu Sifang notes that during the first wave of the U.S.-China trade war in 2018, Taiwanese companies transferred much of their production to Southeast Asia and Mexico. She also says traditional industries, such as textiles and auto parts, are most affected. Taiwan's main concern, electronic industries including components and the ICT audiovisual products, which account for the majority of exports, seem less affected. Cho says that while these products and industries are not yet affected, they are still under review and may be indirectly affected by existing tariffs. Still, the uncertainty surrounding the situation will likely lead to demand decline, so demand in the second half of the year may shrink, which worries manufacturers. Cho says,
because if the tariffs are announced, we will compare with competing countries. If everyone is taxed at the same rate, then the baseline for competition will remain the same, and we can compare how to respond. But if demand declines, regardless of the tariff rate, everyone will be affected.
Tamkang University International Relations Professor Lin Ruoyu says that although the rates were announced in succession, they don't seem to be set in stone. He believes Southeast Asian manufacturers have been mentally preparing for this scenario and will have ways to respond. Furthermore, the unpredictability of the U.S. tariffs, paired with the inconsistent negotiation tactics of each affected country, may mean that businesses will simply have to adjust ad hoc as the situation changes. In response to China's expansion of maritime power, India has built large-scale military infrastructure in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands in the Andaman Sea. Speaking in an interview with Radio Taiwan International, National Maritime Foundation senior researcher Captain Kamlesh Kumar Agnahatri points out the benefits of this to the Indo-Pacific supply chain. The Indian territory of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands sit about 800 kilometers from India and only 150 kilometers from Indonesia. Their location puts them strategically between the Bay of Bengal and the Andaman Sea, a key area to the energy supply chain. While China often invades the territorial waters of the outlying Jinmen and Manzu Islands, the Andaman and Nicobar Islands to the south face a similar situation. In 2020, India upgraded 2 airports in the area into air bases in response to growing tensions in the region. Agnahatri clarified that another concern was that, as the islands are uninhabited, it would be easier for them to be occupied by bad actors, ranging from pirates to other sovereign states, saying,
So we feel that these islands are at a great risk and all of them are not inhabited. So they are at great risk from non-state players like terrorists and crime people's robbers and other poachers. But the state governments, when I say state, the nations can also use these islands and capture them and try and make them their own territory, like they are trying to do in the South China Sea.
Agnahatri says that while India officially abides by the One China principle, it can focus its support for East Asian countries by securing the energy supply chain lifeline that runs from the Indian Ocean across the Andaman Sea and finally through the Malacca Strait. Agnahatri maintains that India can further assist by strengthening its military infrastructure in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. If China is dealing with simultaneous pressure from both the Indian and Pacific Oceans, Agnahatri says it will be impossible for it to concentrate all its strength on Taiwan, the South China Sea, or others. In response to a recent CNN report alleging fishing industry migrant worker abuse, Taiwan's Fisheries Agency has released a statement reiterating its zero-tolerance policy towards any form of labor exploitation. The CNN feature detailed 38-year-old Indonesian Silwanus Tenkata's experience on a Taiwanese fishing boat, which included 4-month trips and 18-hour days with only short breaks, and often without enough food. He described how a big wave slammed a metal door on his fingers, breaking them, but the captain refused to return to port, saying their catch was not enough. Tenkata said he endured the pain until he was eventually transferred to another vessel weeks later, but it too continued fishing rather than heading to port. After hospital treatment, he added that he had been terminated and denied any compensation for his injury. Former Indonesian migrant fisherman Adrian Dangdodo Besar said that while working in the Pacific Ocean, his friend fell seriously ill. He elaborated that the captain also refused to return to port for several months, which resulted in his friend's death. Besar described how he was punished with food deprivation and threats of salary deductions when he demanded the body be returned home immediately. Responding to these reports, the fisheries agency clarified that Tenkata's captain was operating on the evaluation results of the shore doctor, who said that he was not in immediate danger of life. Regarding the lack of medical compensation, the agency said it will conduct an investigation. In the case of the death of Besar's crewmate, who died due to acute illness, the captain claimed that all salaries were paid and the body was repatriated to Indonesia without cost to the family. The fisheries agency expressed regret for the individual cases mentioned in the report and underscored that the above cases are rare. The agency said that it is happy to provide more factual information and welcomes international media, organizations, and independent institutions to conduct on-site inspections to objectively understand Taiwan's real efforts to improve fishery human rights. Taiwan and Vietnam signed a new education cooperation agreement to deepen their partnership and jointly cultivate talents. Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in Vietnam Representative Liu Sizong and Vietnam Economic and Cultural Office in Taipei Representative Pan Kyo-jung signed the agreement together on Monday with the Education Ministry's Chief Secretary Lim Bo-chao as witness. Vietnamese students studying in Taiwan have increased to nearly 40,000, according to Education Ministry statistics, accounting for 32.22% of foreign students and making it the most populous nationality. Lin said that the economics of Southeast Asian countries have been booming, and there is a huge demand for professional and technical manpower. He pointed out that Taiwan's higher and vocational education has always been recognized by Asian countries, and he hopes that exporting high-quality talent can help cultivate the talents needed for development in ASEAN and other Southeast Asian countries. Curious cyclists and passers-by couldn't help but stop and take photos when they came across a rare sight of military equipment in Taipei.
MIM-104 Patriot vehicles, usually kept on military bases, made a rare public appearances Sunday at a Riverside Park in New Taipei City's Xindian district. The Patriot 2 and 3 missiles also drew crowds of curious cyclists and residents eager to get a close-up look at the impressive military equipment. Families gather around the vehicles with children, with parents helping kids pose for photos alongside the defense systems. One resident expressed excitement, saying the display was very shocking and worth supporting as military gear that supports the armed forces. The unexpected event gave civilians a rare opportunity to see Taiwan's advanced air defense capabilities in a public setting. Defense Minister Wellington Koo visited a Riverside Park in Taipei near the airport and major transportation routes to review deployment exercises and encourage military personnel. The Hankwang military exercises included extensive air defense drills, with troops in Hualien demonstrating professional coordination from ammunition loading to simulated combat scenarios, showcasing their realistic training standards. The defense systems on display included the AN-TWQ-1 Avenger missile system, a vehicle-mounted Stinger missile platform with a top speed of Mach 2.2 and a range of 4,000 meters, capable of autonomous guidance and remote operation. The Patriot missile launchers can carry either 4 Patriot 2 or 16 Patriot 3 missiles, with the latter specifically designed to intercept Chinese Dongfeng 11 and Dongfeng 15 missiles. According to Institute for National Defense and Security Research Division Director Su Zhu-yun, these systems form a protective air defense umbrella covering various operational zones, with the Patriot's range reaching up to 24 kilometers for standard versions and 60 kilometers for extended range variants. As the Hankwang exercises enter their 5th day with nationwide drills continuing across Taiwan, these defensive deployments represent the island's commitment to building a robust and reliable air defense shield that will protect its people and sovereignty. Phil Laskowski for RTI News.
Thanks for joining me for the news. I'm Michelle Chang. Stay tuned for another 50 minutes of English language features brought to you by Radio Taiwan International.